Namah Shivaya, greetings of peace and love on this beautiful morning. I'm your host Shridika Pillai. Thank you for joining us on Sadhana, the Inward Path. Yes, we've promised you travel, so buckle up as we go across the country with today's lineup. We fuel up on some healthy vegan cuisine at the Greenside Cafe in Johannesburg, burn off some calories with the Yatra in Pietermaritzburg, and then rejuvenate with the Seva Sitanda Tirupani Mandram in Phoenix. World Vegan Day is celebrated in the month of November. Globally, there are increased efforts to move people towards eating plant-based foods. The cruelty of factory farming, coupled with its severe impact on the environment and climate change, are seeing organizations like the United Nations calling for countries to eat less animal products. Since ancient times, Hinduism too has encouraged a strict vegetarian diet. Sadhana learned about Dimitri Guchar and his own journey towards being vegan and discovered the passion that has become his life.
When I was living in London, I started doing yoga, and through the practice, I naturally didn't want to eat as much animal product. I wanted to eat cleaner, and I started reading more about it, learning about meditation, and when I was doing that, I felt that the lighter diet made me stronger in yoga, more flexible, and gave me more energy. So I naturally started following that. Then I read a book on meditation. I started meditating a lot, and I one day had a very big experience. So literally about a week later, I was in photography at the time. I met a person on a shoot who was eating a vegetarian diet, and she said she's got a spiritual teacher and they teach meditation, and I said, fantastic, I'm interested. So I went there and I wanted to learn the method, and it was an esoteric method, which means you have to get initiated into the method, which means you have to take certain vows first. So I had to follow 5 precepts, and one of them was ahimsa, or non-violence, which meant being vegetarian. For me, it was very easy because I'm quite a committed person. I'm quite dedicated, and when I want something, I go for it. So at the time I was meditating, I was getting a lot from meditation, more than I could get from food or alcohol or anything. I was really being fed. I was connecting to something much bigger, much more special that made everything in day-to-day life pale a little bit. I gave up cigarettes, alcohol, meat, fish, and eggs all in one day, right then and there, and I never ever looked back. When I came back to South Africa, living in Johannesburg, I thought there was no way I could eat really. For a vegan or vegetarian, going to a restaurant, a normal restaurant, is normally quite an unpleasant experience because you have to ask what the ingredients, and then the waiter has to ask the chef, and then the chef comes back, then you ask another question. The waiter gets annoyed, the chef gets annoyed. When you eventually get your food, you feel like it's not good for you, and it doesn't taste nice because it feels like you've created so much problems to receive your food, and you can feel it's just not wholesome anymore. Eventually I decided I better open a restaurant just so that I can eat somewhere, firstly, but also that people like me will be able to come somewhere, eat, and it'll be easy for them. And my main thing here at the restaurant is that if people do have complex diets, I mean, maybe they're more than vegetarian, more than vegan, maybe there's a whole list of things they can't eat or they would rather eat. When they come into the shop, I welcome them with open arms. It's always a play. For me, that's the biggest pleasure. It's the biggest, what's the word, service I can do, because I know how difficult it is for that person when they go to a normal restaurant. As a vegan, you can just eat bread and chips, which isn't very good for you. So my whole point is, if you're doing ahimsa, which is non-violence and kindness to other beings, you've got to put yourself in that picture too. And I think through eating very well, like sound vegan food, I actually think you can shift in consciousness. I believe that, you know, as people sit to meditate, to have a change in perspective, a shift in consciousness, be it a small enlightenment, a medium one, a bigger one, whatever. I think through food and through eating, people can also have small changes and shifts in perspective. And when I see people eating a plate of food that's all cream, brown and yellow, it just doesn't work for me. If you see my food coming out the kitchen, it will be explosive with colors. All those colors are different antioxidants, and there are health benefits in all those colors. So for example, beta carotene is the color in carrots and spinach. You know, it's rich, and for me, if I'm eating a very colorful plate of food, I know I'm on the right track. That is our bacon and cheeseburger. It's normally served with a side. You can have it with beans, sweet potato, butternut. Yeah, we got them with some sweet potato, which we just bake in the oven. Healthy. Just to summarize it all, there are health reasons, there are environmental reasons, and there's compassion reasons. On the health side, it's a known fact that red meat and dairy are big causes of health issues, heart disease, cancers, diabetes. And for the environmental issues, recent studies are showing that we are actually killing 56 billion animals a year, which is a lot of animals. So we've got to ask ourselves, and that's excluding sea animals, fish. We've got to ask ourselves, how are these animals being fed? So pretty much about 70% of the crops are being used to feed animals, which means we are cutting it, we're doing a lot of deforestation so that we can grow crops because we're eating more animals and they need to be fed. So through the deforestation comes extinction of plant species and animal species. So that's one environmental shortfall. The other one is that cows release methane into the air, which contributes largely to global warming. There's also slurry, which is animal waste, which seeps back into the soil and is ruining the water table. Also because all these animals are given antibiotics and hormones for growth, and these are going into our water table and it's infecting the quality of our water and polluting the rivers. So there's the pizza yogi. Nice crispy base. Lots of color. The reason vegetarians practice ahimsa and choose not to eat animals is because of the suffering, the way they slaughter, the way they bred, the way they fed. I mean, baby chicks that are male go straight into mincing machines or are suffocated at birth because they won't be laying eggs, for example. Pigs live in cages where they can barely stand. I mean, it's just the size for them. They're in the dark and they're constantly impregnated to give birth. And after 3 or 4 years, they're sent to the slaughterhouse. So obviously, if you're vegetarian, you are not creating that suffering. It's a huge amount of suffering. This raw wrap is made only with banana and apple. There's nothing else in there. A little bit of water into a puree, slowly dried over 12 hours to turn it into a wrap material. Now we're going to fill it with raw sweet potato, macadamia mayonnaise, pesto, tomato, cucumber, avocado, and a little bit of paprika chili. So here we have the raw wrap, spiralized sweet potato in a raw wrap with tomato, avo, cucumber, a little garnish of salad, lemon, olive oil and salt. We're now going to make a phyllo delight. It's a simple little thing that we invented as a starter. So that's homemade organic tofu with phyllo shells, sweet potato going in, roasted in the oven, vegetable stock powder going on for a little bit of flavor. Then we put some of our Napolitana sauce, which is a tomato-based sauce you can make from tomatoes and herbs. There we go. All our opinions, including our religious beliefs, yeah? I like this, I don't like that, this is where I was born, this is the food I like, this is this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is my opinion on this, this is my opinion on that. By the time you've done all the I's, you've actually built a cage around yourself. And you are trapped within yourself. And all you know is that, and it's small. Very, very small. because everyone's got those and they're all different. So the more you plant those I like, I don't like, I want, the more you cage yourself in. And I think the idea of spiritual practice is to, through selfless service, through devotion, through meditation, through prayer, through chanting, whatever it is to halt that for a moment. Just to take away all those things for a moment and let you feel your vastness, your true vastness, which is much bigger than all those little things. It's like a speck of dust in a dust storm.